Three. Hello everyone, my name is Chiquito and we will talking about the generative linguistics. So let us just introduce and we'll be giving an introduction and overview about this. First of all, my name is Chiquito and my classmates are.
Hello, I'm Zhang Yue. My English name is Liyuan.
Hello, I'm Liyuan. My English is Autumn.
Hello, my name is Liyuan. My English name is Gladys.
Okay, thank you so much. We will be heading about this big topic, the generative linguistics. And we all know that this topic is so relevant and important for the people who want to learn a second language. According to Chomsky, this is the scene or the act of understand how a language works. And precisely, Chomsky is seen as the father of generative linguistics and grammar. So Chomsky is the first proponent, and some of his friends or linguistics people that he met and also helped him to do that. So when we ask about generative, we will ask about how does language work. It includes rules and how the structures and processes of language work. We can reflect that everything has an order, everything has the structure. The way we say, the way we talk, the way we speak, the way we even think have a structure that native speakers doesn't need to understand so far, but a second language speaker that is looking to learn another language independently of what language need to understand this. Language is an internalized cognitive system that the human mind that is situated in the human mind, according to Neil Brits in 2017. So it's like our mind is really a machine that has come already with that technology and with that system of structure, with the rules that we need to understand the language, our native language, that the system to understand and fastly get the structure of how to say a word or a sentence. Language faculty in our mind. Imagine how do we have the faculty to speak, how our mind processes everything and give us commands, and it's like governing our thinking and our language. It influences also our language. Acquisition through language acquisition device. So we call it device because Chomsky thinks that every human being has a device in his brain, and that device is modular. Modular means that it's morphology, syntax, has everything on that. The syntax, the morphology, the sound of the words, what a word means, the etymology of the words, how can we reflect that on our daily life. So we'll continue to talk about this in a further way. Language is a formal system. There are rules for generating correct phrases and sentences. I was saying before, our mind has the capacity, according to this theory, have the capacity to understand easily and to generate phrases that automatically will go out just because our mind knows what the structure is. Human knowledge of natural language is innate. You are born with it, baby. Yesterday I was talking with a baby and I was thinking, does that baby really know how to relate the words that his father said to him, how to relate the grammar? Because they don't know. It's just babies, right? We think, but according to this theory, they are born with the device or thinking. Language has a set of universal principles with limited set of variation. So we can form from some principles a limited set of variation of or structures that can work as a language. And my classmate will talk more about this later, about universal principles. Universal grammar, set of innate universal principles that equip all humans to acquire their native language. It's the same, the source of Evans and Green, because they say and they think that these principles are help us to acquire our language, help us to in an innate way speak our native language. So we continue with the importance of syntax. This, when we talk about syntax, we are talking about words that build blocks and that are used to build phrases and sentences. Syntax generates semantics. So we'll evaluate this picture, for example. We know that there is subject, there is proper noun, there is verbs, adjectives, nominatives, verbs, phrase. Okay, so all those things are in the same structure. Everything helps they help like each other. So let's see the sentence. Caterer said Buster thought the tree was tall. So we can see the order, like the sentence, the noun phrase with the proper noun, the verse, the noun phrase also with Buster and this one, and the verse, thought, the determiner with the noun phrase and the sentence, tree, the nominative, and was told. So it's not just this sentence, but according to this theory, every sentence has its own structure, its own way to evaluate it. So we can see that an infinite number of phrases and sentences can be created from a finite grammar number of building blocks. So I was, as I just show in the last slide, all those blocks or parts of the structure helps and create grammar. And this number of grammar is infinite, as it can be also finite meanings of our daily life. When we talk about this kind of language of acquisition or way of theory, we are talking about the autonomous nature of syntax. That language structure is independent of language use. So it doesn't depend of the use that we give to language, but the structure is always the same, because it will cooperate with the syntax and it will be just autonomous according to the language you are talking about. And this is another example. The cat sat on the mat. So we can see that the whole sentence depends of noun phrase, verb phrase, article, noun, prepositional phrase that is on, noun phrase, this article, and the noun, the mat. So everything has its own structure according to the sentence. So that's why we say that it's like infinite to finite. We'll continue with the rationalism. When we talk about rationalism, we are talking that knowledge of topic is innate, obtained from intuition, role of logical reasoning. So the knowledge that someone acquires is just innate. It's for his own intuition, like the logical reasoning gives that. According to rationalists, there are two key ways in which we gain such knowledge. The first one is the knowledge is innate, already in our mind at birth. As I said, just when we are birth, we immediately have that in our mind. And rational intuition and deduction together help us to acquire certain truths intellectually. So we'll be like realizing about that language that's in the innate way or in the intuition part. So these are some words that we need to know when we want to talk about generative linguistic, or concepts better said. Generative grammar, universal grammar, language faculty, language acquisition device, already about the device, that is really interesting. Nativism, innateness, modular, autonomous, and rationalism. All these topics will be taken by my classmates in the part of the slides. So this kind of concepts and words that we need to know, we will know and will compute that generative is a language that is a rule-governed system, which originates in the human mind at birth. That is autonomous system, which allows human to create an infinite number of novel sentences by using a set number of rules, as I just showing the pictures before. So until this part in my presentation.
And then, the topic I want to share with you is deep and surface structure. So these two terms were introduced by Noam Chomsky as a part of transformational grammar. So what is deep structure? As per Chomsky, this refers to concepts, thoughts, ideas, and feelings. And surface structure, this refers to the words or language we use to represent the deep structure. Let me give you an example. The sentence "I bought colorful clothes" is a surface structure representing a more detailed and elaborate experience, which we call deeper structure. The deep structure for sentence "I bought colorful clothes" will add more details, like these questions: how many clothes, which types, what colors, which clothes did I discard while buying the ones I bought, where did I buy them from, how I felt while buying these clothes, what were the factors based on which I bought some clothes and discarded others, or other similar questions. If you notice, in the process of transforming the deep structure to surface structure, a lot of information has been deleted. This deleted information may not hold much value in a normal day-to-day conversation, but during therapies or in other situations where specific details are important, this deleted information may hold a lot of value. A particular deep structure can be represented by multiple surface structure sentences. I bought colorful clothes, and the colorful clothes were bought by me are two different surface structure sentences that mean exactly the same thing, represent the same deep structure. This is another example sentence. Speaking to you as an intelligent person. This is surface structure that could represent two different deep structure. Does the sentence represent a deep structure where I think of you as an intelligent person, or I think of myself as an intelligent person who is speaking to you? This creates a scope of misunderstanding, as the speaker may have used the surface structure to represent deep structure 1, that I think of you as an intelligent person. But the listener may have understood deep structure 2. I think of myself as an intelligent person who is speaking to you. Because ambiguity or lack of specific details, now the decisions and actions of the listener are based on the deep structure 2 instead of the deep structure 1. Another situation considered is the following statement that a client speaks to the therapist while discussing his relationship issues. The sentence is suppose parents treat my children differently because they are handicapped. The surface level structure could represent a deep structure where my children are handicapped, or all my supposed parents are handicapped. And what is good for understand surface and deep structure? Chomsky said This is a simple system of phrase structure, can provide a basis from which all sentences can be divided by simple transformations, that is, generative grammar equal transformational grammar. Homebound, then it is show how language can make infinite use of finite terms, and from structures to universal grammar. Chomsky said the structures of different languages show considerable similarities. This indicates properties common to all languages. These are concealed by the different surface structure. And through Prober's explanation, we can see that it is important to understand deep and surface structure. This one is for us to have better communication and understanding of one another.
Universal grammar is a theory that suggests that some rules of grammar are hardwired into brain and manifest without being taught, and is a theory in linguistics usually credited to Chomsky that suggests that the ability to learn grammar is built into the human brain from birth regardless of language. So, all human beings share part of their knowledge of language. Universal grammar is an attempt to integrate grammar, mind, and language. Let's continue to the example of principle. Structure dependency, a principle common to all languages, asserts that knowledge of language relies on the structural relationships in the sentence rather than on the sequence of words. So there are examples. The man who is tall is John. Is the man who is tall John? Is the man who tall is John? Let's move on the principle of parameters. Language differ, so we have one way in which they differ is in terms of the words they use. The other one is other differences between languages also have to be acquired. So we also have parameters select among possible variants. It's like comparable to switches. So we have the example of word order. Most languages use subject, verb, object. It's like English. We also have subject, object, verb, like Turkish, and verb, subject, object, like Irish. So a few languages use verb, object, subject, like Malagasy. So the last one is no or almost no languages use, like object, subject, verb, object, verb, subject. Let's give time to Zhang Yuan.
Let's talk about access theories. No access. Theories of no access argue that adult second language learners do not have access to universal grammar. Direct access. Theories of direct access argue that universal grammar is still directly accessible to adult second language learners, in addition to syntactic property transfer from their linguistic one. Evidence for this position stems from research observations that although child linguistic 1 and adult linguistic 2 grammar differ, adult linguistic 2 grammars do exhibit evidence of POS properties that cannot be linked to transfer from their native language or learning. Indirect access. The indirect access viewpoint considers the possibility that access to a second language grammar is first through a first language, where the second language then causes a reciting and restructuring of the learner's understanding of grammar once they have been exposed to the second language. Particle access. Theories of particle access argue that linguists do learners have particle, but not full access to universal grammar through their linguistic one. Thank you for your listening. I hope you can understand and learn more.